Check this out. Below the Heavens saves lives. It's all happening.
Static selector.
The December 2008 issue of XXL magazine remains one of my all-time favorites to this day. One, the whole issue feels like another timeline in the multiverse looking back at it. It's nearly 150 pages, complete with plenty of high-quality glossy ads in the front pushing Rockaware and Baby Fat and Big Boy and T.I. modeling Aku, which were branded as high-quality goods for refined gentlemen of taste. Completely forgot that existed. In the back, there are plenty of low-quality ads for belly-smacking hotlines, eggplant pills, and probably not real diamond jewelry. To put that time period in even more perspective, it's the first issue after Barack Obama was elected president of the United States the first time. Two, that issue is also the first time they released the now annual indicator of hip-hop's best bets on who's next under the banner Freshman. The year before, they unveiled Leaders of the New School, which was the same concept but pre-now iconic branding. And three, 2008 was super peak blog era, and the artists chosen reflected the burgeoning power of internet rap. Wale was on the list, so were B.O.B., Kid Cudi, Currency, and Charles Hamilton. Mickey Fax notched the accolade, as did Corey Guns and Ace Hood. And finally, also there, also the only West Coast representative, was an introverted lyrical poet named Blu from Long Beach, California. Blu's contributions to the roundtable discussion with his fellow freshmen always screamed loudest to me, not because of what he said, but because of what he didn't say. In the entire nearly 12-page Q&A, Blu only speaks 3 times, 3 very short paragraphs. 151 words, 767 characters, enough to fit inside 2.73 tweets. It's all happening, albeit briefly. But that always stood out to me considering the breadth and depth and vulnerability and storytelling that permeates his super sold out classic album, Below the Heavens, the project he made with producer Exile. It's right there on my wall. Released July 17, 2007, Below the Heavens is one of those albums that the hip-hop community has grown to revere in the 15 years since it arrived. Pitchfork gave it an extremely high 8.7 out of 10. HipHopDX named it one of the best 30 underground albums of the century. I worked on that piece. It's the type of album that got high schoolers through their first breakup, college kids through their existential life crises, and rap purists through snap music. Blu and Exile are currently touring in celebration of Below the Heavens' 15-year anniversary. During the LA show, I was there. Longtime collaborator Aloe Blacc did a great job contextualizing the album's impact.
Because there are so many people who were birthed from Blu's lyrics. Some of them are the greatest rappers on the radio right now. You could pick them out. If they were to say, did you ever hear Below the Heavens? They would have been like, that shit was my Bible.
Big facts. Now, Aloe Blacc's actually been down with Blu and Exile before there was a Blu and Exile. Before he was on The Good Life, which is on Below the Heavens. It's one of the best songs on the album. If you haven't heard it, punch yourself in the face. But before he did that, he was in a group called Eminon with Exile and met Blu during the recording sessions for an LA underground group called Science Project. Blu ended up hype manning for Aloe Blacc. Aloe Blacc ended up introducing Blu to Exile. Those two got together and had one very specific, very particular goal.
We pretty much just wanted to make you know, like a Reflection Eternal, or like, but for the West Coast. You know, we wanted to make a conscious album for the West Coast, you know, but also something that's, you know, spans further than just, you know, a conscious album, but something introspective. And I believe we did it, so.
Now, Hi-Tek and Talib Kweli's Reflection Eternal is another super celebrated MC-producer duo album in hip-hop, and Talib Kweli is another artist who was a big fan of Below the Heavens. Here's what he told me in 2011. Like, somebody that I recognize a lot of myself in is Blu. So for him, I'm like, man, fuck. People on OK Player, especially that OK Player community, have been bigging up that Blu and Exile album Below the Heavens for so long. That community is so insular that I don't always trust everything they say is hot. So when I first heard about Blu, I was kind of like, this could be just some hip hop purist shit that's not appealing to me. But when I sat down and listened to it, I was like, whoa, Not only is this incredible, this sounds like the album I would have put out if I was coming out, me and Hi-Tek. Hearing that in him made me want to reach out. Not only is this incredible, but this sounds like the album I would have put out if I was coming out, me and Hi-Tek. Now that's a super weighty cosign coming from Talib Kweli, maker of multiple classic albums himself. But it's also super ironic considering another aspect of the Below the Heavens origin story. Check this out. Blu actually went to the same high school as Miguel. Yes, that Miguel. All I Want Is You Miguel, Quickie Miguel, Grammy-nominated Miguel. Miguel and Blu had a group together called Rhythm and Blue, makes sense, and ironically, Hi-Tek from Reflection Eternal wanted to sign them. Well, almost. Blu.
Hi-Tek flew out Miguel for the Rhythm and Blue demo and told him, don't worry about your homie, we're gonna replace him with Mos Def.
What? And who was that other producer?
That's Hi-Tek. That was in high school too. You know what I mean? We was like, what? I was like, Mos Def is the shit. I kind of took that as a compliment.
I love that story. Such a full circle moment, going from being in a group with Miguel and Hi-Tek wanting to replace Blu with Mos Def to Blu linking up with Exile, wanting to make a West Coast Reflection Eternal, then putting out Below the Heavens, and then Kweli says Below the Heavens reminds him of the album he would have put out if he and Hi-Tek were just arriving on the scene. Yeezus. And that answer from Blu is so indicative of the vulnerability and humility permeating throughout Below the Heavens. Now, Miguel ended up on the project. He ended up on 3 songs. He's on Below the Heavens Part 1. He's also on First Things First, and he's on Cold Hearted. Here's a clip from Cold Hearted.
Pain comes and it goes, but the wound showed a groom that still married my mom. My mom still had a son, a dumb kid with a gun that I got from my pops. Top drawer when he left, my mama fighting for years. My mama fighting in tears. Now she gotta explain the game of life to her son. But the sun still shines. 9 children and a newborn, scorn brother, 2 blue. Life was a young, a dumb kid with a tongue that I got from hip hop. But she left me for you, so I'ma give it to you.
I know. Blu is reading his rhymes off a piece of paper while performing on stage, but to be fair, this is a dope song with a complicated rhyme scheme that came out 15 years ago, and this was the first night of the tour. Wait. Am I justifying a rapper reading his lyrics off a piece of paper while performing? I should punch myself in the face immediately. But the song has so much Common in it, you know, not Common Man, but Common the rapper. Common's one of Blu's top 5 MCs, along with Ice Cube, Planet Asia, KRS-One, and Nas. And that production from Exile, simply sublime. I get chills every time. Another joint I love is a straight cypher cut, straight bar heavy lyrical onslaught. Soul Rising. Here's a clip.
I gotta go get it mentality. Battery please, I just throw some cheese and then go at it. Gotta reach up for they faux-matic. I stagger motherfuckers with thoughts, I got my mojo mastered. The game is full of homos backwards, more hoes than rappers. No clothes but keep shows packing in us. Fuck that, we going platinum plus. Still riding on the back of the bus, like the Bucks don't matter.
More hoes than rappers. I always got a kick out of that line, probably because it's true. But that version you just heard isn't the version that's actually on Below the Heavens, the album. That's what they're doing during their live show. That's basically Exile grinding live on the MPC. But you still get a taste for Blu's lyricism and competitiveness. You get a chance to hear his Nas Illmatic era influences through that track. And that line right there where he says, I gotta go get it mentality, so battle me please. Blu actually had the balls to challenge Godson to a battle himself in person. Didn't go so well. Check this out. Blu shouted out Nas in a conversation we were having. I asked if they had ever met, if there were plans to collaborate. Blu said, I seen that nigga in the club and he didn't even want to see me and shit. I was like, Nas, I'll eat you up right now. He was like, dude. Then he talked to his security, escorted me out of the area and shit. Me, are you serious? Did that really happen? Blu, yeah, I was like, Nas, I'll eat you up right now. Let's get in the studio. He was like to security, get this dude out of here. So I'm gonna work on how I approach him next time. Probably a good idea. Regardless, Below the Heavens is top shelf artistry crafted by 2 artists who'd already stacked reps prior to meeting each other. Exile's the son of a musician who grew up in LA. He was making literal mixtapes on actual cassette tapes in the 1990s and selling them throughout the city before linking with Aloe Blacc to form Eminem. And along with being in a group with Miguel, as you can tell by the way he ran up on Nas, Blu built his name battling across Los Angeles to the point where he received an offer to sign to the notorious Suge Knight.
Yeah, I was about to get signed by Death Row when I was like 18. You know what I mean? Suge was on the cover. He had just got out of jail. He was on the cover of the XXL, and he was like, I'm looking for lyricists. He had a Corrupt and Crooked Eye and Eastwood and Left Eye on the cover with him. And I was like, oh shit, this is my, you know what I mean? This is my, that's right here. He looking for somebody like me.
But back then, if you weren't dope, the rumor was that you would get your ass beat. And Suge took him into like a cafeteria with like how many other cats just ready to beat his ass.
For real, it was like 10, 12 bloods in there. He walked me in and they all watching TV. He was like, he walked me in the room and we didn't even talk before that. He was like, just follow me. And I was following him. We go into the cafeteria, there's all these dudes watching TV. He turned off 3 TVs and was like, all right, go, rap. And I just started rapping, you know what I mean? He was like, okay, that was dope, you know what I mean? Let me talk to you. And, you know, we start chopping it up. But eventually, my producer was producing for RBX at the time, and RBX was like, nah, you can't fuck with Suge, dude, you know what I mean? And that was my main producer, so I was like, all right, I'll hold off, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, I can't even imagine what Blu would sound like on Death Row production. 97% sure I'm glad that didn't happen at the same time too, because 6 months later, Blu finally meets Exile and the rest is history. But when asked if he regretted that decision, Blu said the only thing he regretted was that it would have been cool to be down with Corrupt and Crooked Eye so early. I asked Crooked Eye, who now goes by King Crooked, what he remembers about that time and Below the Heavens. Check this quote, this is special. It was so much going on when I was at Death Row, man. People were being killed, kidnapped, and imprisoned at an alarming rate, so my life was overwhelmingly stressful, but I do remember when he dropped. I think it was summer '07, bro. I knew that project would be classic, just had a feeling. Songs like Dancing in the Rain and Cold Hearted still resonate with me. Here's something else Crooked said that I think is 100% on point. Check this out. The surest ways to create a future classic is to effectively show some vulnerability on the album while also utilizing the art of storytelling to leave people with a feeling of knowing who the artist is as a person after hearing it. Blu definitely did that. Big, big facts. Now look around. All the weighty cosigns rolled in from all across the culture. XXL Magazine, Aloe Blacc, Talib Kweli, maybe not Hi-Tek, but definitely King Crooked. Below the Heavens is one of those albums that stays stuck to your ribs 15 years later. It's sample heavy and sent from heaven. You can see God in the details. It's brilliant. But perhaps the best description of what this album means to a generation comes courtesy of pro wrestling legend and former WWE champion Big E. Big E actually interviewed Blu and Exile here on the Company Man YouTube channel. If you haven't seen it yet, punch yourself in the face. And he got to tell them directly what Below the Heavens means to him. Here's E.
So I have been a fan of this album. This is my favorite album that's ever been made. Just a little backstory. At 21, I had torn both my ACLs, like college football was my dream, tore both my ACLs, broke my right patella, tore my left pec. They say you're done. I actually, I really struggled with my mental health. It's something I talk about all the time. Really struggled with depression. So I was actually in the psych ward, really struggling. And now when this album drops, when I find this album, thematically, it's just, I'm thinking of all the things that Blu's talking about, of trying to figure out where I'm at in life, what is my legacy, who am I gonna be? So it just really resonated with me, and it's a really beautiful album, so thank you too for making a classic.
Oh man, thank you, man.
Big E's connection to Below the Heavens really is incredible. I mean, he's a major hip hop fan, but wasn't allowed to listen to rap in the house growing up. His parents were apostolic, so he connected with Blu's upbringing. Blu's father was a reverend, which is something he talks about quite a bit on the album. In 2021, Big E became only the 6th black wrestler in 69 years of WWE to hold the WWE Championship belt. He notched the opportunity to do so by winning the Money in the Bank ladder match. He was the first black wrestler to win Money in the Bank as well, and for both historic victories, check out what he's wearing.
I decided, because I just love the album so much, I actually had my guy, Jonathan Davenport, who designs my gear. He did his best to translate the album. So the gear itself on the singlet doesn't have a track listing, but the jacket, which I'm so bad at, whenever I get done with something, I usually just let it go. So I sell my gear. I don't actually have it anymore. But man, the thing is so special to me. It just has a track list, like all the tracks are on the jacket. And for me, I had the very best moments of my career were in the Below the Heavens gear, winning Money in the Bank. And the only time I've been WWE champion, I gotta find a way to send y'all the figures, actually making the action figures.
The point is this, on the title track of Below the Heavens, it's called Below the Heavens Part 1, over Miguel's choir-ready vocals and Exile's ill interpolation of Nas's The World Is Yours and angelic synths, Blu closes the last verse with this, wrapping this album's thesis in a bow. He says, think about it, every man has his own heaven, but you gotta go through hell to be a man first. And understand first, hell is what you choose to call the present. That's why you're going through it, I just choose to call it stressing. To tell you fools the truth, I don't feel that's what I'm destined. So you could call it hell, but bruh, I just say I'm below the heavens. It's a seraphic conclusion to a heavenly album, one that inspires and motivates and lyrically decimates like early Talib Kweli. It's the prototypical example of what Aloe Black meant when he said to a generation of artists making their way today, Below the Heavens is their Bible. It's the type of insight that made King Crooked realize that this is a classic album. It's the divine light at the end of a narrow path of darkness, and immediately what I think about when I hear Big E's journey. I mean, really think about that for a second. Big E is literally wrestling with life. He's suffering from all kinds of career-ending injuries. He's battling mental health challenges to the point where he's in a psych ward. And the power of Blu and Exile's Below the Heavens inspired him through some of his darkest moments. And when he finally reaches the pinnacle of his profession, WWE Champion, he snatches the belt, rocking a custom wrestling singlet inspired by the cover art to Below the Heavens, complete with a jacket emblazoned with the album's track listing. I mean, what more is there to say? I don't have the answer to these questions.
Static Selector.
Another Saturday, another TBD. Thank you guys for rocking with me. I really appreciate it. Sincerely, really appreciate it. First off, this isn't a review. This album came out, Below the Heavens came out 15 years ago. No need for me to review it. Plenty of great writers have written about the greatness of this project. But what I wanted to do was talk about this project through the lens of its impact on real people in real life. That's what this wall's about, the wall that's always behind me. These albums are the 24 most important albums in my life. And Below the Heavens hit me at a time when I was thinking about leaving investment banking to move on to write about rap music. It was a super risky decision for me at the time. And Below the Heavens, Blu's words and Exile's production really inspired me to lean on faith as I made decisions about my future, and it worked out. So thank you guys for making this album. Happy 15-year anniversary. Also, on Big E front, the conversation with Blu and Exile, that's it right here behind us. That's on the channel now. If you haven't seen it, like I said earlier, punch yourself in the face. But a lot of people have been commenting, asking how Big E's doing following his neck injury. He gave this message, so here's what he said. My C1 is healing fibrously, but not ossifying yet. I'm clear to live my day-to-day life normally, but I'm not clear to wrestle yet. The doctors want to get MRIs, X-rays, and CT scans at the 1-year mark. I'm not in pain or discomfort and have no limitations day to day. Great news all around. Can't wait to see you back in the ring, Big E. Also, if you get a chance to check out the 15-year anniversary of Blu and Exile's Below the Heavens on tour, I definitely suggest you do so. It's a great show. Whole Dirty Science crew came out in LA. I'm sure it's gonna be another great show this weekend in San Francisco. I think Big E said he's gonna be there, so maybe you get to meet a wrestling legend as well. My name is Justin Hunt. Follow @TheCompanyMan on everything. Like and subscribe and hit that bell. It's all happening.
Man, I was like 16
and I begged my sister to take me to the record store, and she finally did. And me and my brother had to fight for the Walkman, bro, the CD player. We had to fight for that shit. And I'll still fighting for it today. That shit is still dope.
So if I got signed Exile, sign my shirt.
To see Blu and Exile together again.
There it is right here. There it is right there. I know. Sign my titty. You got my titty.
I thought it was fucking fantastic seeing Blu and Exile after all these years, man. I was in high school when this came out. I was a senior in high school when this dropped. Blew my mind seeing them live finally after all these years. I could finally afford it. I was broke as hell when this shit came out, and I could finally come out here and give my real support, yo. It was live. Loved it for real. It's all happening, yo.